Anything else? Yes.
Did they ever try to book any other acts into the Wheaton Civic Center? Because that was one of the
No, the Wheaton Youth Center, it was very frustrating because what they did, they didn't even advertise those shows. I only found 2 or 3. I found the stuff for like Rod Stewart and the Faces. It was in the Washington Star. I think I found the ad for when Iggy and the Stooges played there. I found a review for Long John Baldry. But they booked some amazing rock. I found an article where Tom Zito talked about Alice Cooper playing the Wheaton Youth Center.
Oh my God, you got to be kidding.
Where was that? Wheaton Youth
Right
Center.
library.
Right up on Georgia Avenue. Okay, but here's the thing with the Wheaton Youth Center. They were being booked in there by Barry Richards and Bud Becker. You know, Led Zeppelin did their DC area debut there January 20th, 1969. And they didn't advertise these things. They went on the radio, WHMC, and they do a radio spot, you know, because they booked these bands at the last second. But the Wheaton Youth Center, they started booking teen bands like Lawrence and the Arabians, the El Corrals, and stuff like this in the 60s, like 64 to 68. 69, they brought in Sir Lord Baltimore. They brought in Led Zeppelin.
But the next thing differed at the Falls Church.
Well, they got it from Premier Talent in Detroit in 70 and 71. So you had the Bob Seger system. They did the Falls Church Community Center and the Wheaton Youth Center the next night.
Vienna, Bob Seger.
Not a huge place.
They brought in Spirit.
Oh, God.
Is it still there?
Yes, the Chicken Shack, Christy McVie's first band. Joe Lee told me that Delaney and Bonnie and friends played there with Clapton on guitar.
Where is it?
And Wheaton, is it still there? The Wheaton Youth
It's
Center?
still there, but I never found any references to live music there after like
Didn't some of the
1970s.
Where is it exactly?
On George Avenue.
George Avenue, the building right past the library.
Yeah, it's right there.
11,000 block, I think it is.
Didn't some of the Faces stay with Barry Richards' mom or something like that?
What happened was Rod Stewart and the Faces stayed at Barry Richards' house on 14th Street. His mother had a house on Upper 14th Street.
Apartment.
And they spent the whole afternoon playing soccer on the lawn out there, and he was taking pictures of them.
Thought I remembered that.
Grin, I think, opened up for him. Nils Lofgren.
Does anybody remember Love playing at the Wheaton Youth Center? Because they canceled the Falls Church show.
I don't think that one happened. Yes.
I drove up here to look at the place after I read that. But how big is that place inside?
Well, it's a basketball gymnasium. They could stuff, they told me they could stuff like 1,000 people in there without seats. Yeah. I think the capacity, it's the same size as the Greenbelt Youth Center, where I live in Greenbelt, and the Greenbelt Youth Center had a capacity before they allowed the teen club dances to go. These people came in and they said, your capacity is 529. That's how many chairs you can set up in there. So I'm going to say Wheaton could probably, the capacity was probably seating 500 to 600. It was a basketball court, but they could stuff maybe 800 in there to 1,000. The thing with Led Zeppelin, which is like the most legendary concert that people will say, some will say yes it took place and some say no it didn't. Barry Richards says he has photos of him with Page and Plant the night of the concert in front of the Wheaton Youth Center. I was listening to 98 Rock, I believe it was, and the book Stairway to Heaven came out, and Richard Cole, who was a manager of Led Zeppelin, was talking, and they said, well, did Zeppelin play their first, where did they play their first DC concert? He said, well, ironically, the lowest paying gig we ever had was on our first tour. And they said, where was that? And they said, it was at a basketball gymnasium somewhere between Baltimore and Washington. And they said, well, where was that? And he goes, oh, I don't know, but they paid us $200 cash. And he said, and 20 people showed up. And, and then, of course, the guys who were interviewing him did not elaborate on the concert at all or get into it. The date that I narrowed down, the actual date was January 20th, 1969. That was the one open date on their...
I was 2 blocks away. I wish I had known.
The next Barry Richards told me the story. They booked them on like 3 days' notice. They had an opening. They came into Wheaton, they played the show, and he gave them $200 cash. They got into the van that night and drove off to Pittsburgh. They played in Pittsburgh the next night. And he told me 50 people showed up. I remember Richard Cole said they had 20 people, and that was it. All they did was advertise it on WHMC, I guess it was. I don't know if it was WDON at that time or
HMC.
And that was it.
It was a Stooges show at Falls Church Community Center. You might get about 100 people, but it looked bigger as a basketball gym.
And they were lucky to get $200.
The Doobie Brothers played there. It's amazing these people we saw in small venues. Nobody knew who they were. The album rock thing hadn't taken off on radio yet.
Man, it's amazing.
They were damn lucky to get paid anything.
Well, in the early 70s, they had some amazing stuff too. The Child Herald down at DuPont Circle. I found all kinds of, bizarre bands that played in there. Springsteen played there. That was not his DC debut. He had debuted at Cole Fieldhouse opening for Chuck Berry. Here or two before, but in May of '73, I think he played 3 or 4 nights at the Child Herald. Emmylou Harris is like their house guitarist.
Who is that?
For a couple of years. Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, really?
Fire Falls is there.
I just looked for the Child Herald. Is this Fire or is it something
The
else?
building is there. It's an old
I know the
roadhouse.
building's there, but the Child Herald.
Child Herald closed like
Last
year. Yeah, it was just.
Was it
it's
the
just
DC
there.
Armory where the Beatles played first?
Washington Coliseum.
Washington Coliseum.
Yeah.
Is that still there? Or is that gone?
We were just talking about Uline Arena Wash. It's the thing that I went
Oh,
by
that's-
and they have a fence around it.
Oh,
I think
that same place.
Things falling down, caving in.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Sigmund has a picture with him.
Anything else anybody want to throw in or talk about? Or? Okay, that's pretty much it, folks. Thanks for coming out every day. One thing I forgot, Ellie has a mailing list. If you have an email address, why don't you write your name and email address down so you can get on her email list for events here at the bookshop. And I guess we're going to have a reception. There are refreshments in the back, stuff to drink and eat, so help yourself. And we'll just hang out for the rest of the night if you like.
Everybody can fold up their chairs, put it against the wall.
Wayne and Olivia.
Anybody wants copies of the art, you guys plenty more.
Yeah, I can't believe I was 2 blocks away from where we were.
I'm amazed you know where you were.
Oh, yeah, I said it too.
January 20th.
Where?
Cool. Where really?
Ellie, you want me to go on that? Cool, man.
How are you, Ray? Real good. You? Good. More or less, yeah. How about yourself? I mean, I'm still doing research and working on film projects.